This video is for section 2.4. We have 3 objectives in this section, and each objective is going to have its own video. Our objectives are to graph a linear function in standard form, graph linear functions in slope-intercept form, and graph horizontal and vertical lines. So we're going to do standard form first. Standard form means that we have an equation that looks like ax plus by equals c, where a, b, and c are all numbers. Another way of saying this is that x and y are on the same side of the equation and the other side is a number. So our method for graphing linear equations when they're in standard form, I like to call the cover-up method. So you're going to cover up the y variable and the number in front of it and solve the remaining equation for x. So you're going to get an equation that says x equals some number. Then what you're going to do is plot this point on the x-axis. This is called the x-intercept. So this point goes on the x-axis. Then you're going to repeat the process, but this time you're going to cover up the x. And solve the remaining equation for y. So you're going to get an equation, y equals some number. That point is going to go on the y-axis. Once you have these 2 points, you're just going to draw a line between the 2 points to make your line. So we're going to look at example 1 here from the book. This says to graph 4x minus 3y equals 6. So I'm going to start by covering up the y. And that's going to give me the equation 4x equals 6. Divide both sides by 4. And I get x equals 1.5. So this means that this point goes on the x-axis. So 1.5 is going to be halfway between 1 and 2. I'm going to put a mark on the x-axis. So if you remember from graphing, x-axis is the horizontal axis and y is the vertical axis. Now I'm going to get my eraser here so that I can erase my covering up so I can see what was under there, and repeat the process covering up the x. Now, if there's a negative sign attached to one of these numbers, the negative sign needs to stay with it. So I need to keep this negative sign on the 3. So my remaining equation is negative 3y equals 6. I'm going to divide both sides by negative 3, and that gives me y equals negative 2. So I'm going to plot this point on the y-axis. Negative numbers are below, so plot the point right there. And then I'm going to just draw in the line like so, as straight as I can. So that's my line. I'm going to show you next how to do this on the homework. So on the homework problems, they're going to give you the equation to graph, and then you're going to see this button that says click to enlarge graph. that's what you need to click on to actually make the graph. If you have trouble using this or getting it to show upright, the first thing that I recommend is changing to a different browser. I usually find that Chrome works well for my computer, but MyMathLab can be a little bit difficult sometimes to work with. So what you're going to do in this window is you're going to click on this. This is the line tool, this button in the center of the top row. We're going to use quite a few of these different buttons throughout the semester. Now what you're going to do is click on the graph to plot the first point. So looking back at my equation, I see when I cover up y, I get x equals -4. So plot that on the x-axis, click on it to plot it, and then click on the graph on y equals -1 is my second point. Once I click on the second point, then I can click on Save, and I'll see my graph on this right-hand side of the window. Go ahead and click on Check Answer, and it's going to tell you if it's right or wrong. So that's what it looks like on the homework. What you should do next is checkpoint problem number 1. This is also in the book, 3x minus 2y equals 6. Check your answer in the notes that are posted on Blackboard, and then you can move on to the homework.